When the skilled actor Kim Cattrall takes on a role on stage or screen, she gives it 100%, digs deep, and hopes for more than the best. She rarely rides on her Samantha Jones Sex and the City accolades. In her new film, Meet Monica Velour, she has definitely shed Samantha, taken off the makeup and the Manolos, a jug of wine added, perhaps, to make some poignant points.
So what's this movie about?
Well, there's no script, but I think it's gonna be good. I mean, classy, something that'll lead to bigger things.
Wow.
They want to pay me $3 grand. That's a lot more than I got in the 70s. I mean, some of those early ones, all I got was $50 and a case of the crabs.
Is the crabs thing still part of your contract?
Let's hope not. It is my pleasure to welcome Kim Cattrall to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Hi, Fanny.
Hi. Meet Monica Velour. That very name sounds like a busty Angora sweater.
It does, doesn't it? There's this fabulous game that you can play where you take the name of your first childhood pet and the road that you grew up in, and you can have a great porn star name.
Yes.
Mine would be Fluffy Dawn. What would yours be?
Snoopy Broadwater.
You just can't make this stuff up, can you? It's
No,
so good.
you can't.
So
Snoopy
good.
was my dog, my little dachshund, and
Yeah.
I lived on Broadwater Avenue.
That's hilarious. This part came to me in the form of a ruffled up script from my agent and said, I don't think you're going to want to do this, but give it a read. And I did, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Because,
Why?
well, that's a very good question. Because it scared the pants off of me. And very early on in my career, I worked with the great actor Jack Lemmon in Toronto doing a film called Tribute. And I said to him, how do you have longevity in your career, Mr. Lemmon? And he said, I take chances and I do things that scare me. And this really scared me because I'm known for, as you know, playing very powerful women, you know, in charge and know what they want, especially sexually. And here is a woman who is on the reverse side of that, someone who has really become an outcast, someone who's been objectified her whole life. I think as I have, as many actors have been, because you're on the big screen. But this does not have a happy ending.
Monica, aging stripper, porn star, had her day.
Mother
Mother who's lost her
fighting for the custody of her daughter.
child to a not-so-nice husband, fighting for custody, living in a mobile home in a dreary, dreary trailer park.
I mean, we're making it sound very dour. It's also very funny.
Well,
There's a lot of funny moments in it.
She would need humor to get through what she has to get through.
She's a survivor. And that's one of the things that I really noticed in the script is that the man who wrote this, who also directed it, first-time director Keith Bearden, he's a feminist. So even though she has very few choices, you really feel a strength and a determination and a courage behind this woman that I thought, that I can relate to. And that journey I want to go on. So the transforming of myself as people know me, you know, adding the weight, having no makeup on, using these costumes, changing my physical posture. I mean, at the end of shooting, I had to go see a chiropractor because my shoulders were so forward all the time. Because the way she feels about herself, Kim, I feel good about myself. But the world is caving in on her. I lowered my voice an octave. All of these things, you know, for an actor to do are so exciting.
Exactly. How did you study up? Had you been to a strip bar?
We went to a strip bar, but it wasn't really about a strip bar because Monica Velour, you know, this is post that for her. So this is a story really about a woman in a transition, and she can't turn that page, just like this young boy can't turn his page to go into the next stage of their life. So they meet in this conflict. So she doesn't think she's sexy anymore. She hangs out with bikers. She doesn't have very many friends. She's got a tough life. The one thing that she does have is this fight for her daughter and to get out. And that's what this young boy allows her to do. That's where the romance, that's where this relationship begins.
This unexpected love.
Yes.
As you call it. The young boy, a bit of a beanpole, nerdy.
Yes,
little
geeky
glasses,
little boy.
geeky.
Yes.
And you're not sure in the film if he's maybe just having male fantasies or if he's a little off. You just don't know for sure.
Well, this is a male fantasy. I mean, that's what pornography is. And the sad thing about pornography is when a man or a woman is has to relate to a real human being, they don't know what to do because they're not acting like they should in the porn world. You know, they're not orgasming at the touch of a finger. They don't look physically like a porn star. And this woman, it says on the poster, which I think is very apt, it's where his fantasy of this woman meets reality. And I have a speech in this that I've always wanted to make as a woman. This is who I am, not the images that you see. This is who I am. And I think that that's something that has been left behind in this post-feminist world. We tend to merge.
Sure, and if you're somebody else, my friend or my lover, don't try to turn me into somebody else.
No.
I own this.
Yes.
Don't turn me into June Cleaver.
That's exactly what she says.
I'm not
She
her.
said, you're just like everybody else. You're making women into whores or Madonnas. We exist as full-dimensional, full-blooded people as well. And please take notice. Look at this. This is what it is.
When you played Samantha,
Yes.
Was it difficult for you to get out from under her, so to speak? It's a
That's a very good way to put it.
Just kidding, but you know what I mean.
No, it is.
The
I think it's-
siren,
I think it's very difficult when you play a role like Samantha, who becomes so iconic in a series which is so iconic. It's very difficult to change gears. But I've always been very fortunate in the sense that my training is in the theater, and I don't rely on Hollywood to write movie roles for me in my 50s. I go to the theater. I do Shakespeare. I do Noel Coward. I do Mamet. I do plays that have great roles for women in their 50s plus.
Now you started. At 3 months, you escaped from England.
Didn't escape, you know. Well, my dad did. He couldn't find work.
Okay.
It was 1956. It was a tough, tough time after the war.
Came to Vancouver Island.
Yes, yes.
Went back to London and studied acting.
Yes. Actually, to Liverpool. And I took regional exams, and I studied at the Guildhall of Music, and also at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. And I just loved it. To me, it didn't seem like anything extraordinary. I was just following something that I really enjoyed doing.
Any actors in your family?
None. I have a great aunt, but she's not a blood relative, who was an elocution teacher. And she was the one who really introduced me to Shakespeare. I saw my first Shakespeare, As You Like It, with the great Janet Sussman when I was 10. And 35 years later, I was in the West End starring with her in a play called Whose Life Is It Anyway, directed by Peter Hall.
Yes.
And she and I just got on like a house on fire. And finally, I told her that I had been in the audience in 1968, and she had unknowingly influenced me because I didn't know completely what was going on, but I knew that something was happening, you know, on that stage that I wanted to be part of. I thought that's who I am. I just read Patti Smith's Just Kids. Have you read
Yes.
it? Oh, it's brilliant. And she has a similar kind of moment that I had at 10, where you just know that that's what you need to do.
And
that's what you need to do.
You're lucky if you know that, because some people don't find their lane ever.
Right.
You found yours early.
Yes.
Went on to Hollywood. The Otto Preminger thing, were
Yes.
you signed with Universal?
I was signed
on the old system?
Yes, I was. First of all, I was signed to Otto Preminger right out of theater school, who was just a maniac, a crazy, abusive nutcase, and like a Nazi, even though he was Jewish. And I hated working with him. I never wanted to do movies again. But he had put me under contract for 7 years, and then that contract was bought out by the Hollywood MCA Universal at the time. So I was under contract with Jamie Lee Curtis, Sharon Glass. We were all, you know, doing television shows, starting to do movies, things like that. But I didn't really enjoy the contract system. After a while, I found it very stifling.
Okay, but speaking of This Is Who I Am, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
When she showed off in the glossy magazine, no makeup, a little pudge here, a little pudge there,
Yeah,
and
I
said,
love her.
I so don't look like
Yes.
what I look like up there.
Exactly.
Please don't buy in.
That's what I love about Jamie, you know, and I think that that's one of the things that I wanted to do with Meet Monica Velour, is to say, this is what it looks like. This is what it is.
Farrah Fawcett in the Burning Bed when she played the abused wife.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. I look at Judi Dench for real inspiration, because I didn't want to see the dailies for this film. There was no time to see it anyway. We shot this in 6 weeks, and we did 1 or 2 takes of everything. We rehearsed beforehand because I needed so much to transform myself for this. I couldn't just get on a set and do what I do. You see, that's what happens, unfortunately, for so many actors. You get to play, you're asked to play the same role over and over and over again. So you don't get any opportunity to rehearse or have the time to develop and create a new character. That's why you go to see Jack Nicholson, you know, because you're seeing Jack Nicholson. I want them to see Monica Velour. I don't want Kim Cattrall to be up there, or Samantha Jones, or any other character that I've played. And that, I think, is my strength as an actress, because I keep growing and changing. And most people are more and more frightened of that. But when I see someone like Judi Dench in Notes on a Scandal, directed by Sir Richard Eyre, in a bathtub at 73 nude, I think you got to get over yourself, Kim Cattrall. You got to just do this kind of work. And those kind of women count. You know?
And strut a bit in without your perfect body.
It's difficult for all women, as you know. I don't think it's as difficult for men, but maybe for some.
Well, I feel very flattered that you say perfect body, but I am like any woman. I stand in front of the mirror and I only see what I don't like. I have cellulite, I have bulges, I have those things. You know, I work out, I diet, I do whatever. I'm Jane Fonda generation kind of gal. But I am like any woman out there.
You didn't have one of those thigh things, did you?
Yes,
Jane,
of course.
the thigh
Suzanne
master?
Sommer? Yes, of course I did. Everybody did. You know, you sat
Okay.
home, you do those exercises. But I'm like any woman who looks and sees wrinkles and sees it's half empty, is it half full? I mean, when I've got my Spanx on and everything, I'm feeling a lot more secure, let
That's
me tell
true.
you.
And the makeup
And the
artist
makeup
and the hair guy
well, it's
and
not
all of
today.
that.
It's just me doing it. But I just think to myself, you know, people think these images really represent what real life is about, and I'm here to tell you, it's not. It's fantasy land.
Yes, it's what's wrong with this picture.
But you know what is wrong with this picture is we're not allowed to age.
Karen Kane said on the cover of a book I showcased yesterday, and we were talking about it in the green room,
Yes.
we can share it. She said aging is a dilemma.
Oh, well, that's ridiculous. I don't agree with her. I think she's a beautiful dancer, but I think she's got it wrong. Age is not a dilemma, it's a reality. And you've got to make that reality, you know, yours. And I'm going to, you know, women, what choices do we have? People say, you know, you look terrible, or you look old, or you look like a hag. I mean, go online at any time. If you're feeling good about yourself, it's a real blow. This age rage thing has really got to stop. People, we have to as women. Men can do it, but women can't do it. We can't have wrinkles. We can't have a bad hair day. People are poking at you 100% of the time. So where do we go? What alternatives do we have? Plastic surgery? Then you become a victim of plastic surgery. It's really, women have a hard rap, and you know, one of the hardest people on women are other women.
And sometimes agents, and sometimes people who say to you, which is very astounding, if you don't get that gap fixed in your front teeth, or
Yeah.
or your ear lowered,
Right.
or something
Or
like
you
that,
don't play the game, which is, I'm supposed to be the original cougar from Sex and the City. I was asked 3 years ago to be on the cover of a magazine for women over 40, which is a very popular magazine. And they said, but we want you to pose with a cougar. I said, I take real umbrage to cougar. I'm not a cougar. A cougar is some kind of negative connotation of a middle-aged woman sitting on a bar stool trying to pick up some young guy. That's not who I am. I'm not going to support that image. I said, I'd love to be on your cover, but I won't do it with a cougar.
And what if the young guy really
They
wants
cancel
to
the
pick
cover.
me up?
Exactly.
That too.
Well said. Exactly.
Yes.
But that's never part of the scenario.
I
you know?
understand.
It's got to be a negative connotation for a woman, because this is a powerful woman, this cougar.
Well,
know? So
or you
they've
could
got
be
to,
I think you can be a puma, or a bear,
panther or
a
something.
panther, or something like that. But one thing this movie, the Monica Velour movie, is very clear about is the downside of being a sexualized woman.
Yes.
It's very clear about that.
But there's something different between being sexy and sexualized. I like feeling sexy, but I don't want to be sexualized.
I totally get it, but
Yeah.
she was.
She was, yes.
And